touch him. Just growls, scars, and a habit of vanishing into shadows. Then a 16-year-old in a wheelchair rolled into the yard and the room fell silent. Something impossible happened in one slow, quiet heartbeat. No commands, no tricks. Noah simply waited, steady breath, still hands, and Ghost walked forward and laid his head on the boy's knee. The shelter gasped. Something older than fear met something older than grief. People called it a fluke. Others shared the clip until it exploded. But when Ghost refuses food and waits by the gate until Noah returns, you realize this is no accident. It's two broken hearts teaching a whole town to believe in second chances. You wouldn't let anyone touch him. Growls, scars, and a habit of vanishing into shadows. Then a 16-year-old in a wheelchair rolled into the yard and the room fell silent, as if the world had paused to watch. Noah didn't shout. He didn't reach. He simply waited with steady breath and still hands. And in one slow, impossible heartbeat, the dog known as Ghost stepped forward and rested his head on Noah's knee. The shelter gasped. Volunteers who had spent weeks learning the dog's boundaries felt something older than fear meet something older than grief. And that quiet Ghost arrived at the shelter after being found in a drainage ditch. Pale fur marked by scars, hungry and terrified of human hands. Trainers tried food, toys, calm voices, and every trick they knew. But approaches ended in growls and snaps. Ghost preferred to melt back into shadow whenever anyone came too close. The volunteers whispered about him and kept their distance, cataloguing wounds and patterns more than personality. Naming him for the way he seemed to disappear from the light. Nights at the shelter were a mix of muffled barks and the clink of kennels. In the daylight, Ghost watched from the edges, alert and withdrawn, a living outline of what had happened to him before. Noah Clark hadn't planned to be the centre of anyone's attention when he arrived that day with his mother. 2 years earlier, an off-road bike crash had taken the use of his legs and much of the spark that used to make him laugh at skate parks and push limits. He moved slowly through the yard, more observer than participant, scanning faces and cages with a quiet that felt like apology and armour at once. When he saw Ghost across the fence, something changed in his posture. Not with dramatic gesture, but with a patient stillness, the kind of calm that refuses to be commanded. Noah didn't reach. He didn't call. He simply sat and let the world come to him. And the dog, who refused everyone else, chose, for reasons that looked suspiciously like understanding, to step toward the boy and lay his head against him. Someone lifted a phone. Someone else held their breath. And a clip that began as a private moment spun outward into the public eye. The video of Ghost resting on Noah's knee spread fast, bringing warmth and praise from hundreds and skepticism from a few. Overnight, the shelter found its inbox full of messages. Offers to help, offers to doubt, reporters asking to cover the miracle, trainers insisting it might be a fluke. In spite of noise and opinion, Noah kept returning, and small repetitions built trust. Ghost learned to sit beside him, to walk quietly along on their slow outings, to lean into the wheelchair as if it were a person with steady hands rather than a thing to be feared. No commands, no tricks, only the accumulation of patient afternoons where a dog and a boy shared silence, and the shelter watched something fragile but true grow. The story's test came when outside voices got louder and Noah stopped coming for a while. Critics called it staged, some said it was luck. And in the quiet between visits, Ghost paced and refused treats and pulls that had once interested him. He waited at the gate until the day Noah returned, refusing food and play until the reunion proved to those who needed proof that the bond was not manufactured. When Noah wheeled up and Ghost ran straight to him and settled by his side, the moment shut down scoffers and opened doors. Not just for headlines, but for healing. The shelter invited them to speak at a therapy event, where kids with disabilities reached out to touch Ghost and, in some cases, laughed or spoke for the first time in months. Parents and therapists sent notes saying a single afternoon had changed their child's week. And the quiet ripple became something wider than one viral clip. When the cameras were off, the truth was simple and stubborn. Two damaged creatures taught a town to believe in second chances. Noah and Ghost found in each other a permission to be visible and to be trusted. A mutual rescue that looked less like heroism and more like slow, necessary return. In the evenings, they would sit in the field as the sun dropped behind the hills, and Noah would stroke scarred fur while Ghost rested his head on Noah's foot, tail wagging softly in a rhythm that now felt like home. "You helped me find myself again," Noah said, words small and steady, and Ghost answered with the ordinary devotion of a dog who had learned how to stay. If this story moved you, help more matches like theirs by checking the shelter's adoption and donation information. Share the clip so more people remember that healing often arrives when we stop trying to fix and start learning to trust.